I studied some cult leaders and it significantly helped me grow my coaching business. Now, let me explain. If you've ever wondered why some coaches can enroll clients like freaking crazy while others struggle, it's certainly not because of their credentials or the number of testimonials that they have or whatever. In fact, the most talented coaches on the planet are typically the brokest. In what I have found, what I've seen, what I've studied, what I've experienced, it's their ability to communicate persuasively, to be able to influence people to do the thing they want them to do. Now, again, let me break this down because back when I first started running my online coaching business around 2019, I watched coaches that were frigging half as experienced as me fill their calendars while I was literally struggling and scrambling for clients every single month. And the difference is they knew how to say the right words in the right way to the right people. Now, I call this the precision influence model, and it's built on three core skills. And if you study any freaking cult leader or even great thought leader of our time, they all share these three core skills in common. And you're going to see what I mean. The first one is knowing what to say. In a business sense, would be called your messaging. This is your ability to craft words that move people into action. You could see that the Nazis used propaganda to manipulate millions of people. Cult leaders of all sorts use this to control their followers. But here's the flip side. Martin Luther King Jr. used this to inspire a movement. Great coaches like you can use this to help people break through their limiting beliefs and to truly transform their lives. And so it's a tool that when you know how to use it, when you know how to wield and craft the right words, you could start to create belief shifts. You stop becoming ignored in your audience. You stop becoming observed as this commodity, and you're starting to be able to put stuff out there, content, marketing, ads, whatever it is, that are going to land with the right people. And this will increase the amount of people that opt in for your stuff, that respond to your call to actions, that DM you. And so the first thing is getting your messaging dialed in, knowing how to say the right words in the right way to the right people. And then again, the second thing here is knowing how to say it, like knowing actually how to communicate it. And the first kind of meta skill here is written communication. This is knowing how to take those words and how to write headlines or hooks or persuasive copy. The written word, think about it like your 24/7 salesperson. It's literally working while you sleep, depending on where you're distributing this content, which we'll talk about. But it's converting strangers into clients when you do this correctly without you lifting a finger. I mean, you technically had to press buttons on a keyboard, so you lifted a finger at one point, but it works for you around the clock. It becomes the heavy lifting if you do this correctly, which again, we'll break down here in just a second. But the third thing is knowing how to speak it. This is verbal communication. And so whether you're on a sales call or you're hosting a workshop or doing a live training or you're recording a video, your tonality, your pacing, your presence, your body language, it's either going to build trust or it's going to kill it. Now, I've seen coaches with perfect freaking scripts, man. I'm talking like I've literally audited sales call scripts, masterclass like video scripts, and I've seen people that are flawless with the script. They're actually saying the right words in a way, but because they couldn't deliver it with conviction, it flopped, completely flopped. I've literally seen people take 20 plus sales calls and not close a single soul. I've watched people put out hundreds of videos and not get any clients. And then on the flip side, I watch others that have average messaging. They're saying decent words, but I've seen them close deals because they spoke with authority. They spoke with confidence. They spoke with conviction. They knew how to use tonality. They knew how to pace. They knew with passion how to be able to tap into people's belief systems and to start to shift it. Now, here's what most coaches, here's what most people miss. They think that if they just be themselves and show up authentically, that's like the freaking buzzword, which you got to be authentic for sure. That should just be a given. It's like, the sun rises every day. It's a given. You should show up authentically, right? But people think if they just show up and just say things and coach people, clients are going to come. And I'm sure we know that's not the case. But authenticity without influence is just noise in a crowded market. It's like going into Times Square in the middle of like a really busy balls about to drop New Year's, and you're just like yelling truth. Like, it's like people are like turn around and be like, who's this crazy person? Are they drunk? But in the same token, if you go into Times Square, the same busyness, and you have a dog whistle and you can blow the dog whistle, I was going to say people, the only things that are going to hear you are dogs, right? And this is exactly what we have to be able to do in our social media. In fact, Google has published a study that shows there's over 1.2 billion, with a capital B, posts that are being published every day on the internet. And so if all we're doing is just like yelling and just being authentic, but we're not learning how to, again, the precision influence model, we're not learning how to be able to speak that right message in the right way to the right people, it's like we're shouting into a loud, crowded market versus the dog whistle, which is speaking directly to our ideal clients. And now I'm not calling your ideal clients dogs unless you're literally like a groomer and you're serving dogs. Now, people are being bombarded with propaganda, with hype, with manipulation every single day. I mean, dude, you log freaking in, like I'm constantly on my YouTube having to like click the little three dots because they keep trying to feed me news and they keep trying to shove propaganda down my throat. And I'm like, I'm not interested. Right? People log into their Facebooks or their Instagrams or their LinkedIns, and they're constantly just seeing shit that's like, either making them want to keep swiping because dopamine hits, like cheap dopamine hits, or it's like causing panic in them because people are trying to shove products, they're trying to sub services, they're trying to tap into people's egos and get their amygdalas fired off, right? And so if you don't learn how to cut through that noise and actually persuade people to take action, then they're going to stay stuck, and you will too. Okay, the coaches that are making good money in their business, whatever that means to you, like in kind of my world, people that are doing 30, 40, 50, 60, 80, 100K, they're running 6-7 figure businesses, they've mastered this. They've mastered the ability to do this, not to manipulate, but to serve at a higher level. Because the truth is, if you can get someone, or if you can't get somebody rather, to say the thing that's going to change their life, that has the potential to change their life, you're doing them a disservice. So here's my question for you. Like, how much longer are you going to let great coaching? Because first of all, if you're not great at coaching, you probably need to get great at coaching or whatever business that you're in, consulting, coaching, whatever you're doing. But if you are great at what you do, like how much longer are you going to let that go unheard? Because you haven't mastered the language of influence. I want you to really sit with that for a second. Now, a couple things I'm going to leave you with here. So firstly, if you want to go deeper into learning how to actually communicate, I've done long videos on this and trainings, and you could search the channel. They're on there. But I want you to think about just a couple things as we wrap this up. The first is if you can learn your ideal client's struggle story in terms of the messaging, if you can learn how to tap into their deepest pain points, the symptoms that they're experiencing on a day-to-day, on the limiting beliefs that they have in their mind to why they feel like they are stuck and they're not seeing the growth that they want, whether you're helping people with weight loss or you're helping people get leads or sales or whatever it is, when you could tap into that struggle story, the exact symptoms, the very specific symptoms and complaints and pain points and beliefs that they have, and then you on the opposing side, you could speak to the promised land. You can speak to that aspirational identity that they so desperately want to step into. When you could speak to that, as Hormozi says, the dream outcome so clearly, and you can articulate it so well, people are going to know, they're going to automatically assume, again, if you can articulate their problems better than they can, they're going to automatically assume that you have the solution. And if you are leading them to this promised land, that dream outcome, that aspirational identity that they want to step into. Whether they want to be that fit parent, they want to be that sought after coach, whatever it is, they're going to follow you. And then when you can learn how to shift their beliefs, this is all comes down to the communication. When you can learn, like, okay, if you know what their limiting beliefs are, if it's weight loss, maybe they think it's my genetics, or I've got to just diet and I'll be able to lose the weight. Or in business coaching, it could be like, hey, I think I just need to run more ads, or I just need more leads. That might be their belief. And if you could shift it to your belief, so in my case now, my belief that I'm always trying to get people to believe is that it's not about like running more ads. You can run ads, you could DM people until your fingers turn purple. It doesn't matter. If you dial in your messaging, if you say the right words and you know how to plug that into the right type of content ecosystem, and you know how to run conversion campaigns and how to communicate, you're going to do a heck of a lot better, and you need way less leads to be able to get the results that you want in your business. And so it's like, when you know how to shift people's beliefs, and you could do that through storytelling, through using metaphors. And now, I mean, there's a million ways that we could do it, but the more common ones are going to be like what I call the MASS method: metaphors, analogies, and story. It's going to allow you to bridge the gap between old belief and new belief. And the better you can write that, persuasively write that with copy, show up and influence through your communication, through your stories, through your teachings, the more clients that you're going to have. And so that's kind of the skills that you can start to dive into and learn. And again, I've done plenty of videos on the channel on this that you can go and study. And if you have any questions, shoot me a DM on Facebook or Instagram. Happy to be able to help. And if you found this video helpful and you're interested in this topic and you want to study and learn more, make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss out. As always, remember, your message matters now more than ever before. Don't be afraid to speak it, because the world needs it. Bye for now.